Okay, let's dive into this. Have you ever wondered what the world's oldest surviving operating system for the arts actually looks like? Well, is prastutime hum janenge just how deep this goes. We are unpacking an ancient text that's so deeply ingrained in Indian culture, it's literally the DNA for almost every classical art form on the subcontinent. Yep, we're talking about the Natyasastra. And trust me, by the time we wrap up, you're going to see performances in a totally different light. The sheer scale and depth of this thing makes Western equivalents, like Aristotle's Poetics, look like a quick summary by comparison. Now, I know 36 chapters and roughly 6,000 ancient verses sounds a bit intimidating, but don't worry, we're going to break this massive text down into clear, manageable blocks by building a performance literally from the ground up. We'll quickly cover the foundation of art, the origin of the fifth Veda, the four pillars of acting, the science of rasa and emotion, musicology, and finally, the rules and the actor's freedom. Section 1. Natyasastra, the foundation of art. So this whole massive system was codified by a sage named Bharat Muni, who lived somewhere between 400 BC and 100 AD. Which brings us to a really direct question, right? Bharatiya Shastriya Kalaon ke niyam kahan se aaye? Where did the rules of Indian classical arts actually come from? Think about it. When you watch a mesmerizing Bharatnatyam dancer today stamping out those incredibly complex rhythms with heavy bells on their ankles while maintaining absolute flawless grace, you are looking at a highly structured discipline, a logic that is literally older than the Roman Empire. These aren't just random movements, they follow a profound ancient logic. And all of that logic, it lives right here in the Natyasastra. Now, I want to be super clear about this. This is not just some dry, dusty rule book sitting on a shelf. It's a comprehensive, living blueprint. It dictates absolutely everything. We're talking stage construction, the specific diet of the actor, the exact hand gestures, even how the audience should be seated. It is incredibly granular. It doesn't just say, hey, build a stage. It literally tells you that the soil chosen for the theater's foundation has to be meticulously checked for its color, its taste, and its smell to make sure it brings good fortune. It's a complete ecosystem for the theater. Moving on to Section 2, Origin of the Fifth Veda. The mythological origins of this text are absolutely fascinating, and they show us exactly how it synthesized older knowledge. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it breaks down the myth of its creation. So the story goes that the god Brajapati wanted to create a universal form of entertainment and education that was accessible to absolutely everyone. He wanted to break right through the strict class barriers of ancient times. So what did he do? He took the four ancient exclusive Vedas and extracted their core elements. From the Rig Veda, he took the Pathya, the text or spoken words. From the Sama Veda, he pulled the Geet, the music and melody. He took Abhinaya, the acting and physical movement, from the Yajur Veda, and finally, from the Atharva Veda, he took the Rasa, the deep human emotions. He mashed all these pieces together to create a brand new fifth Veda for the people. It's just an incredible story about democratizing knowledge through the universal power of art. All right, Section 3, Fourfold Acting, Pillars of Art. Let's look at the actual anatomy of the performance itself, starting with the physical and verbal tools the actor absolutely must master. So Bharat Muni codified acting into four distinct pillars. First up is Angic, which is all about the body. Think of those incredibly precise hand gestures, the mudras, where just tweaking a finger position can instantly communicate a blooming lotus flower or a fierce, roaring lion. Next is Vachik, the voice. This covers dialogue delivery, pitch, and tone. Then we have Aharya, which encompasses costume and makeup. Picture the elaborate, towering green and red makeup of a Kathakali performer. I mean, that makeup is doing half the acting before the performer even moves a muscle. And finally, there's Satvik, the internal emotional connection. Because it's not enough to just look the part, right? The actor has to truly feel it, radiating this invisible energy. Modern theater directors talk about these exact same elements today, they just use different words. That brings us to Section 4, the science of rasa and emotion. Let's shift our focus entirely from the actor's performance to the audience's psychological experience, diving into the text's legendary 6th and 7th chapters. So, the crucial point is this revolutionary concept called rasa theory. Bharat Muni understood that the ultimate goal of an artist isn't just mimicking actions on stage. No, the goal is to literally engineer a specific emotional state inside the viewer.
Rase translates roughly to juice or essence. When an actor perfectly aligns their physical, verbal, and internal performance, they generate a specific flavor of emotion that the audience actually tastes. For example, if an actor combines aggressive stomping pacing, that's angic, with a booming harsh voice, that's vachik, they engineer rautra, the rasa of intense fury. You don't just watch an angry character, you taste the adrenaline of anger yourself. It's an incredibly advanced psychology of empathy.
Next up is Section 5, Musicology, Swara and Shruti. We are shifting from the fluid world of emotion to the rigid, mathematical soundtrack of the performance, jumping right into chapters 28 through 33.
Take a close look at this number, 22. Bharat Muni didn't just understand music intuitively, he dissected it mathematically. He precisely divided the musical octave into exactly 22 microtones, known as shrutis. And guys, this isn't just ancient trivia. This exact 22 shruti foundation is the structural backbone that still completely governs both Hindustani and Carnatic classical music today. Over 1,500 years later, and the math holds up perfectly.
And this brilliantly illustrates how that math actually works in practice. We have the 7 pure musical notes, or swaras. You know them as sa, re, ga, ma, pa, da, ni. Bharat Muni took these 7 swaras and perfectly mapped them onto those 22 shrutis using a highly specific mathematical sequence. 4, 3, 2, 4, 4, 3, and 2. It's literally a rhythmic mathematical code dictating exactly where each pure note sits within those microtones to create absolute harmony.
But honestly, here's my absolute favorite detail from these musicology chapters. Despite all this intense, rigid calculation, the text throws in a beautifully human insight. It states that when you're tuning instruments and finding true harmony, mathematical calculation can sometimes have errors, but a prashikshit kran, a deeply practiced, trained ear, is considered absolute perfection. The math is the map for sure, but the artist's trained ear, that's the compass. It places the ultimate authority not in rigid formulas, but in the living, breathing human artist.
Finally, Section 6, Rules and the Actor's Freedom. Let's wrap this up by looking at the philosophical tension between strict classical discipline and the performer's creative liberty.
This beautiful balance between strict rules and human intuition brings us to a truly profound question. We've seen the precise math, the 4 pillars of acting, and the incredibly strict rules governing stagecraft. It leaves us with a provocative thought to end on. Does a perfectly rigid system limit an artist, or does it actually set them free? This is the core debate about abhinetaki swatrintrata, the actor's freedom. Think about it. When you don't have to worry about the foundational rules because they are flawlessly mapped out for you, maybe your mind and spirit are finally free to explore the absolute depths of human emotion? It's a beautiful idea to ponder, and it's a true testament to the enduring genius of the Natyasastra, an ancient text that is just as powerfully relevant to the arts today as it was over 2,000 years ago.